All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I believe we are being live streamed now. So welcome to the February 21st, 2023 meeting of the Advisory Committee on University Records. This meeting, again, is being streamed on KDLA's YouTube channel in compliance with open meetings requirements. And for the purposes of the minutes, I'm going to go around, say your name. So you please tell me the institution you're representing. Dieter Ulrich.
Dieter Ulrich, Morehead State.
Jackie Couture.
Jackie Couture, Eastern Kentucky University.
Chris Ferguson.
Chris Ferguson, Murray State University.
Tammy Satterley.
Tammy Satterley, KCTCS.
Hannah Pryor.
Hannah Pryor, University of Louisville.
And Vicki Cooper.
Vicki Cooper, Northern Kentucky University.
All right. Thank you all. Next, we have the approval of minutes from the previous advisory meeting. We did not meet in December. Our previous meeting was August 30th, 2022. I sent the minutes out to everyone. Did you get a chance to review them? Are there any corrections needed, or were these minutes good to be approved?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second. All right. Any opposed? Okay. Those are approved. And so now we got approval for all of 2022 meetings. So the next item we had was discussion of the state university model. For this quarter, I didn't have any revisions to the schedule that will be presented to the commission. So there was no material sent out regarding that. But I did have a couple of items that have been brought up in the past few weeks that I thought we might start discussing, and if we need revisions, we can begin that process. The first was the resident interview files. Hannah, you brought this up with U of L, and we kind of put it to the group for discussion. Were these considered student records, or were they considered, I guess, employment records? And Vicki, you had pointed out that there was a rule in 2005 that medical residents were not students; they are full-time employees. And Sue Ellen had provided some other comparative record series. So I guess I'm throwing this out. Is this something that looks like it needs to be addressed on the state university model for our record series? Let's see. If I recall, need to bring that up. State University model had series U0482, which covered medical resident students files, but however, that was a permanent record. And as I stated, my understanding that there might not be a need to keep applicants who were denied or rejected permanently. So is this something that we need to look into further, I guess?
To provide any kind of context, it's been a while since I looked at those records, but I believe they were applications to our residency program with the U of L Medical School. It included, I believe, a mix of people who were accepted and people who were not accepted to the program. So if possible, it would be great to be able to have them authorized to be destroyed if they weren't accepted to our program.
So are we just able to add language, Joe, to that? Just clarifying language?
If that's the option we want to explore, I think adding language to the medical resident record series to address, I guess, situations where applicants are, denied.
I don't know if you're able to bring that up on the screen, maybe, so we could look at it at the same time.
Yeah, sorry, I've been trying to do that. Got a new
What was the series number again?
okay. U0482. Yeah. See if I can share my screen.
And in my conversations with somebody over at our medical school, it seemed that they considered these records to be more of like an employment application file and less so the resident student file. Just because I think in a lot of cases, those student files would be held at whatever medical school they attended before they became a resident.
Yeah, I get to wonder, why would you keep it permanently? I'm still trying to figure that out.
Is the record series visible to everyone?
Yes, so I'm wondering. I think because we were saying that this should be more of an employment one than the resident file. I mean, the resident file we'd keep permanently because it has a lot to do with their certifications, and if they did any treatment, I would think during their residency, that would be why we'd keep it permanent.
Yeah. I can understand Dieter's, question about this. Like, would it merit a permanent retention? Maybe long-term for, the life of a career, someone's career, but permanent retention.
And I was looking at some other records we had similar to the ones in question here, resident application files. And it seems in the past, our records manager gave them series number U0405, which I think is part of where my question came from, just because it didn't seem consistent to me.
Wait, you said U0405?
Let me double check that.
Not seeing that.
I don't see a 0405. Goes from 404 to 406.
I think that was an old series. This I'm looking in our system. That would be the university model dated December 14th, 2017. So that series must have been done away with or combined with a different one.
Was it 406?
I guess I wonder if 404 would better fit it.
We got, yeah, the 404 being the entrance examination reports and test scores. I look back at your email, Hannah, and I think it had listed U0406, which was the application one.
That U0406 doesn't fit exactly if these are more employees than students.
Which is where my question stemmed from. I wasn't sure if we should be considering them students or employees.
And
I
I
had to go
think
back and look at what I had sent before, because that was that IRS ruling that had said they were considered employees, not students.
even if they treated people while they were residents, there's only a limited statute of limitations where people could come back and sue for that treatment, right? And employee records are 75 years because of retirement systems, and they would not fall under a retirement system.
These are, just to clarify, these are medical students, these are medical residents employed or working at the university's hospital, the hospital affiliated with the university. Okay.
Yes,
Would-
it's their applications to be admitted into our residency program.
Got it. So it's not necessarily treatment records, it's their applications. Because those I think would have different retention policies, like treatment. So if they are admitted, their treatment records would be what they did would be a different file than their application.
Yes,
Okay.
that would be my understanding.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
So what does the hospital keep for physicians and other employees? Are this just under our normal employee application, the hiring series, or?
I would assume so. I don't know a whole lot about the retention over in the hospital once you get away from like our medical school programs. They might have their own retention series or retention schedule that they apply to their records once they're employed by the hospital and not U of L.
That would be confused. Why would that be separate? I think I would think that the hospital as part of the university would still have
Okay.
it. And that would be my understanding. Now, if they know that, that's between the workflow within your organization.
So if they're employees
I'm-
based on IRS, then they would fall under the employee retention. And then there's a separate retention for applicants not hired as well that would allow you to get rid of those much earlier.
So it sounds like we would look at if these are going to be considered the employees, we would look at that employee hiring file. All right. Well, I will. I think we stop sharing. Well, keep this up for maybe a minute.
I
Okay,
mean,
so-
that would take it down to the 3 years after the search is concluded. Which is quite different than permanent.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna treat it as the same as an employee application, does language need to be added to that medical residents would be included here? Or do we just agree upon that?
Do we have the number for that record series? I'll put it on the screen just so.
U0468. That's actually the student one. Hang on. It's benefits. U0620 is the regular employee personnel.
And 645 is the hiring one. If we're talking about people that we don't hire.
It's 645.
Mhm.
If the hiring process materials file applies in this instance, I mean, that would be the record series to use, addressing the question of would we need to change the language to include medical residents? I guess that's something to consider. I don't know if it's necessary if they are just considered employees, but I wouldn't want any confusion for your institutions on this.
I mean, we don't specifically identify any other particular type of employee, but this is a unique. So I can certainly see the argument to not, but it's also a unique circumstance in they're both also in a learning capacity. And when we're paying, Murray State is not, we don't have a med school, but I think at UK they pay them a salary. So they're earning a salary, but they're also a student, as a resident, they're a student doctor. So I can see the confusion there. I don't, that's not helpful. I'm just restating the issue.
No, it is.
Well, we do say faculty, classified employees, and graduate students. So we are identifying 3 classes of employees.
Are
So-
these records kept in HR or are they actually kept by, I guess, the hospital or the medical unit? I'm kind of lost now. I'm assuming that 0645 is more like human resources.
I think in most cases, I would never see these records. You're right, they would be kept in HR or in whatever unit is doing the hiring. But what brought this up is that I believe our emergency department transferred some resident application files to us. I'm just wanting to make sure that they're taken care of appropriately.
And Joe, not to muddy the waters, but this kind of ties in with the fact that I have the police department background investigation files that are a question at our institution.
Yeah,
So
that was-
I don't know how many different ones we want to call out, but
yeah,
I know if there's a, if there's a statute or some kind of legal precedent that would require them to keep them differently, then we'd want to call it out.
okay. Yeah. So sounds to me like just a bit more research to see if there is a statute that requires or sets a minimum retention for those. We'll look that up. If there is, we may need to revise the language there. So I think we'll just resolution being a little bit more research on this. Finally resolve it. But yeah, Vicky, that was my next point, was the police background check. So stop sharing screen. And Vicky had sent this question to me earlier this month, and then the month got away from me before I could send it out to everybody. So this may just be a thing where I present it here and throw the question out to the group for a little bit longer discussion. Let me see if I can. But there was I guess the question was one that related to KSP having a series or the campus police or law enforcement for 5 years for successful candidates, 2 years for those not selected. What was it, Vicky? There was like a difference in background checks for anyone in law enforcement as opposed to other employees of the.
Yeah, I think this was specifically about the polygraph that they use, and the polygraph is something that even the candidate cannot see the results of that polygraph. And this came because our police chief right now we have records. And so of course, that's when it usually comes up, right? Is that they have records that they're going, hey, I think we should be able to get rid of these. So trying to find out what happens on other campuses with some of the police records and the background check. Because my understanding, this is a much more in-depth background check than our campus would normally run. So this is specifically only to the police department. And it's not meant for anybody to be able to see at any other point. I don't know if anybody else is familiar with their police background checks and any polygraphs that might be done on campus.
I have no idea. I mean, we have a police department, but I have no idea about how what their policies are over there and what their internal things are.
Yeah. So my police department was saying that they don't think they've ever destroyed one of their background checks from at least 20 years or more. So keeping it as a risk. But it looks like we're seeing a difference maybe between 3 and 5 years between KSP and then the local government series L6289, which is polygraph. So I don't know if you want to go back and just check with your police departments and see what's been going on, because obviously you guys have had police departments probably longer than we have, since we're one of the youngest universities. So
Okay. Yeah. So for this one, I'll send that question out to the group that you had, Vicky, and we will, if everybody can just, I guess, do some information gathering, and then if there's a need to address this, we will.
because I don't think we actually have anything in our schedule that address the police polygraph or background information that's different than a normal background check for all employees.
All right. Review. Great. Those were the only 2 points of discussion I had for our state university model. Again, we didn't have any revisions this quarter. So with that, if anybody else has any discussion they want to bring up? If not, we'll move on. Other business. I'll open it to the floor if anybody has other business that they want to announce. Well, no announcements from KDLA right now. We still without a commissioner. Well, I guess not no announcements. We're still without a commissioner, but I think there was a search, or they were going to put a search in process for that. And so if there's any change on that, I'll let everybody know. And if there's no other business, we'll adjourn. I'll have a good afternoon.